Because it's not no,
It's just not a major sport type shit.
Yeah.
We're live.
And they gonna tax that
Football is back, baby.
Football season, boys. I hope y'all got y'all shirts on.
We know y'all might be tapped into some of them games.
Who y'all got for the NFL season? What's y'all team, fellas?
My team.
I got it on the jersey, man. We're
I
gonna be
don't
pretty
have it on
shit.
Chat, what's y'all team too?
We're gonna be pretty shit.
I was gonna ask you this.
But I
Chat,
got
who y'all
them boys
The
from
boys.
Dallas.
I ain't gonna lie.
I just got this on, y'all.
I'm
Now, okay, what's-
always had that team.
What's y'all favorite team? And who y'all think gonna win the Super Bowl?
My favorite team.
My favorite team, Dallas, and Dallas gonna win the Super Bowl.
Okay. Who got that?
My favorite team is the Titans. And who I think gonna win the Super Bowl?
Don't lie.
I can't say the Titans might win that bit. But if I could put my dollar on somebody,
What if you don't make your mind up?
I'm gonna put it on that boy Joe Burrow down there.
It's not a bad
It's
team.
not
I
a
like
bad
that
take.
prediction.
That's I damn near was gonna say that. I damn
Hey,
near was
that's
gonna
a
say
great
that.
prediction. Who you got, Brandon?
My favorite team. Well, my favorite player is Kyler Murray, so I guess that's my team at this point. Who I think will win the Super Bowl? Probably the 49ers. They loaded.
yeah.
They
Okay.
loaded.
Okay, my favorite team is the Packers, and I really haven't thought about it, but man, I really want the Cowboys to win, but do I think they're gonna win? I don't think so. But they got a great team right now, so I say the Cowboys,
Who you say your favorite team was?
the Packers.
Hey,
But they suck.
Packers.
hey,
They suck.
I got a wild
No, they
card.
suck.
Everybody might get on my butt for it that might win.
The Ravens.
I think.
I like the Ravens.
Oh,
I'd
you
say-
were thinking about them.
I'd say
I was
they're
thinking
my
about the
wild
goddamn Jets going all the way possible.
Whoa.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not a uncommon
I like the
take
Jets.
these days. You know,
A-Rod's my
Just got a
favorite
lot of
player,
hype,
but
man.
that's not an uncommon take.
They better ball.
I hope the Packers get better.
I'm
one
gonna
day.
keep it 100. Just a ride out of that packet. It's just something about that ball.
Who the
getting in
Bengals
basket.
playing? Okay,
They
who the
young.
Bengals playing? All right, guys. Yeah. We're going to get to this video so we can go watch some football. So, just watch this video with us while y'all watching the game, guys. So, we finna go ahead and get into this. We've been seeing this.
Hold on, I got one.
I heard
more.
it's pretty crazy.
I got one more question, y'all.
What?
Who y'all gonna think gonna win the national championship for college football?
I'd say like Michigan.
Alabama sucks.
I'm gonna keep it 100. How
Michigan or
Texas
Georgia.
look? How Texas
do
look?
look good.
How Texas look
You know,
yesterday?
I'm not gonna hop on the Texas hype train yet, man.
I
can't do it.
Georgia, man. 3.
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to have
I'll
Georgia.
say Michigan or
Yeah,
Georgia.
I forgot about good old.
But my
Georgia.
favorite two teams is Colorado and Texas right now, for sure.
That'd be crazy. Colorado find their way in there.
My favorite two teams.
Boy, if they went out to Pac-12, you know the USC, they gotta get past USC
Oklahoma
and
and
Utah.
LSU, even though they both didn't look good. That's the two teams.
Yeah, I like LSU too.
Oklahoma's
man. They just-
2-0 right now.
Yeah, but there wasn't no good win against SMU, man.
LSU was getting their ass toe
Yeah,
up.
I guess.
Who's LSU lose to again? This
Florida State.
Yeah. Oh, I can't say that's worse than that.
Florida
What
State
loss is worse? The
now
LSU
third.
loss or Alabama loss? I don't know. Alabama's probably worse though.
Yeah, because
Florida State's pretty good.
They were ranked. Well, they were
Third.
both ranked. LSU was 5th when they lost.
Oh, that's bad too. Florida State look good though. They could do something.
They ranked like 2.
Yeah, man.
Florida State look
This
different.
NFL season and this college season is
Go Vols.
pretty unpredictable, I would say.
It's always unpredictable.
But in the NFL, we probably
That's
know
what
who's gonna
makes
be in
sports
the
great.
playoffs though. Somebody gonna sneak their way in there though. I think possibly the Jets could sneak their way in there though. But we already know who's gonna be in there. 49ers, Cowboys, they're the same old.
Hey, who won the fight last night?
Ston Strickland beat up
forgot.
Adesanya.
He lost. Adesanya lost.
He whipped Adesanya's ass.
yeah.
He
Yeah, it
beat
was
his
bad,
ass,
bro.
It
And
was
he was acting like
actually-
a
He, like,
girl.
dropped him and
Yeah, he
everything.
was
No
acting
one
like
likes. I don't like Adesanya now.
But I mean,
I
it
ain't
was
gonna lie,
good.
he's
It was good
folded.
sportsmanship,
He's
bro.
folded in
But
a few
was-
title
he
fights,
did like
in
this.
my opinion.
I would never do that in my
Yeah,
life.
like he was a champion.
I would never. in my
Yeah, that
life
was
do that.
it was wild. It was wild. Okay, guys.
He lost.
Yeah, he folded.
Shout out
pretty
Andrew.
bad.
Okay.
Did he went up in weight class or he went down?
I think he just defended where he was his title was
Eagles.
at,
I
whatever weight
forgot
class
about
that
the
was.
Eagles.
So
he
he
was
got
in the same one.
zipped.
He
Man,
has ass
you
beat.
know who we need to call? We need to call Usman.
Usman.
Man, he's
Usman.
0-2 versus Leon Edwards, man.
Oh yeah, we need to call Leon then.
Yeah, gonna have to call Leon to come handle that.
All right, guys, we finna go ahead and get to the video. Let's get it.
Is Leon still the champ, huh?
He must be then.
Damn.
I forgot about that.
You know what would be cool if we ever get the chance to meet Dana White. I would cry.
That would be lit, actually.
Joe Rogan. Thank you.
I would like to meet both of them.
Joe
gonna
Rogan.
cap.
Joe Rogan seemed pretty cool. I want to,
Join our Middle Ground Patreon
Y'all ready? Let's get it.
community and make Middle Ground with us.
Oh crap. Yeah.
I was chosen to read the following prompt. White Americans have way more advantages than black Americans.
Oh, maybe that's our voice. I'm sorry.
So white Americans have way more advantages.
It would seem so.
what's the
Do
answer?
white
on
Americans have
opinion
more
on that?
advantages because
Community and make Middle Ground with us.
I was chosen to read the following prompt. White Americans have way more advantages than black Americans.
Way more advantages.
Rarity here.
Dang.
it would seem so. do white Americans have more advantages because they're white, or do just white Americans have advantages because of historic factors? I think that people want to argue at the end of the day over whether it's because you're white or not. I think that the answer is because you're white in the past, and that's how it kind of carries over to today. You know, even in times of the United States history where black people have tried to build wealth, you know, with the Tulsa riots and everything, where that this wealth has been destroyed. And something that's upsetting to me is when conservatives talk about how we can't blame the past for what's happening in the present. That is true to some extent, but then the next breath they'll talk about how important it is to have dual parent households, how important it is to have a strong family, to have responsibility passed on from parent to child. And we've seen in the past that because of racial issues, that process has been severely disrupted.
The funny thing is that agreeing with all these things is when I did my research when I was younger, which arrived me to my standpoint of being a conservative, because I believed it was racist, Democrat, liberal ideologies and policies dating all the way back to the 1800s, all the way up to the 1960s, and then the purported big switch. But I think it was more so when Democrats decided to be a bit more cloak and dagger about their true opinions of black people and be more secretive and more, oh, we want to help you by doing these things and seeing them as inferior.
Doing what things?
Affirmative action, welfare, all sorts of things that eventually ruin our culture and place us where we are now.
So
But I want to get back to the history of it, because we're talking
Well, I just
about,
want to make sure we're clear. Giving them money hurt them, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yes, giving them, because if your father's out of the home, that's when we give you the money. If you're living in this housing,
so then give them the money while the dad's in
rent-free,
Well, then
that's
give
how
them
you
the
get
money
more of
while the dad's in the home.
If you're working
So
this.
give-
I've never seen a Biden 2024.
That's Hunter.
That's
Hunter. That's Hunter.
That's the crackhead, huh?
That's the Hunter.
What?
That's the
even
crackhead.
worse.
Is he running?
No.
Hunter's the crackhead, huh?
So that's just
He's just,
a troll.
That's
Yeah, I
pretty.
guess
That's a
so.
pretty crazy hat choice.
But do y'all agree with everything who's saying right now? Who do y'all
I really
agree
don't
with?
agree with the.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of agree with Chandler right now. I can't lie.
Yeah, Chandler
What he's
speaking
saying is-
facts. But I'm gonna keep it. Only thing I can say, he's saying giving money to them didn't help, but no welfare money don't give them enough until like the end. They only have
Welfare, bro. You said welfare.
Welfare. Oh damn, I said welfare. Welfare don't really be helping people like that, to be honest with you.
It
That's
doesn't.
his point.
think it cripples people.
Yeah,
Yes,
it definitely does.
it make them more lazy.
That's Chandler's point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
totally
want to hear
right.
what Ali got to say though. Y'all hear that buzz though?
That is the stove.
No, that's
Stove.
That's the
computer.
washer.
It's the light support.
Hold on, guys.
But I don't think the video gonna hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the dryer.
Yeah, it might not hear that. Let us know if y'all hear that. Oh crap! Let us know if y'all hear that buzz, guys. All right.
But yeah,
All right. Let me bring this up here.
I almost forgot we were live and thought we were recording.
Nah, for real. All
Can't
right.
make that mistake.
I ain't gonna lie.
Look at
Saying?
Well, yes, giving them, because if your father's out of the home, that's when we give you the money. If you're living in
Yeah,
this
so
housing,
then give them
if
the
you're
money
living
while
in
the
this
dad's
housing
in.
rent-free,
Well, then
that's
give
how
them
you
the
get
money
more of
while
the
the dad's in the
If
home.
if you're working
So
this
give
amount of
them the-
hours and getting less than this amount of
You're
dollars,
throwing-
you're getting money
you're
from the
throwing
government.
the
Yes,
baby-
it is
you're
incentivizing.
throwing the baby out with the
it is-
bathwater.
I don't even know what that means in this scenario, because yes.
You're
okay, you
throwing
want to talk about throwing babies
Okay,
out with
let
the
me break this
bathwater?
down for
Margaret
you.
Sanger wanted to exterminate the black race because she thought they were weeds. So yeah, we can literally talk about throwing the baby out with the bathwater. That's what Margaret Sanger, that's what Democrat policies wanted to do to my people. So that's why I feel so strongly about it, because it is these policies that date back centuries that were built off of the death and poverty of my people.
Let's take a breath. So,
I'm breathing.
Wanna take no
okay.
breaths.
So a lot of babies aren't, but I
Alright.
am,
Okay.
sadly. Wow.
I don't know what that means. When I say throw the baby out with the bathwater, you want to completely get rid of welfare, okay? Or at least I don't want to put that on you, you haven't said that, but the conservative apparatus does, clearly. So giving money to a group of people does not hurt them.
I mean,
It
sure, if
can't.
you're talking about a lottery,
It
just
literally
take
can't.
money.
Can't.
But
Yes.
there are strings
Take money.
attached to that money.
Take all the
there
money.
are strings attached
Give
to
them
that
millions. Make them all millionaires. I don't care. giving money to black people does not hurt them.
And that has
thinking
not
that-
happened.
He haven't been with
What
niggas
do you
for
mean?
5.
That has not happened.
Giving
it,
no.
it hasn't been a
You're saying
referendum.
so what
It has
you're
been
saying
a welfare program,
welfare
Race
was
Societies
designed.
Act that
Welfare
was built
was
off of the idea of, hey, we get these families split up, we get these
so
people
then let
living
them
here.
keep the family together and keep all the money.
I mean,
There you
I
go.
guess
Get
so,
the
but
money.
I guarantee you,
I guess
there's
so.
no way that
Why
would
would you
happen.
not advocate for that?
So in your, I guess, research of like history of this country and everything, do you find like the Reconstruction era and like the failures of like what it wanted to be and then what it ended up being, and then which led into had downstream effects to enter into the Jim Crow era, and you have policies like redlining that influence how schools are funded. The downstream effects of slavery, do you think put black people as generally in a worse off position than white Americans?
I think generation by generation, the effects of slavery have been diluted, but generation by generation, the effects of racism, welfare-based policies, and things of that nature became even more great. So in the 1880s or so, when we had our first black members of Congress, which were indeed Republicans, I think that was a great start for things. But obviously, we had terrible things that happened, like the Tulsa massacre, among black people being chased out of their homes by the KKK.
Sure.
All funded by the Democrat Party, all supported by the Democrat
Okay,
Party.
well, I need to stop you there.
Is that a fact?
That is
Can
a
you
fact. You don't remember?
attribute not to the party but to the ideology? Because I think when you think, regardless of whatever the party switch was, traditionally conservative values did not that's more aligned with more racist policies
It's
in this
very
country.
difficult to compare
Pause it.
2020's
Whoa.
conservatism
Can you pause it?
to 18.
Well, I can see why people saying that, but people was tripping, so you had to lock that. What else you was supposed to do
bro.
when people messing up buildings and
Nah, yeah, I mean,
You see
more
what I'm-
conservatives want to put people in jail, but we can't forget Joe Biden also said put them niggas in jail too, though.
So, yeah.
So it's just a problem with black people in general with crime from the statistics.
So like, I don't know what
Starts
else.
with the dad in the home. If you ain't got nobody to whoop your ass.
So I don't think any party is being worse on black people. I would say the welfare is probably the worst thing though.
I don't think either. Okay, this is what I would say. I think always like I always say, you got good and bad apples on both sides. I think both sides, the good apples on both sides, both want the best for black people, genuinely. But like maybe on the left side a little bit, they think things like giving them money, affirmative action. They think these things are helping. A lot of them probably do, but they actually not.
Yeah, that's a good way
But
to put it.
you could see that
Yeah.
if you're black,
Yeah,
because
you
you'll
definitely can.
understand
Yeah.
more. So
I
if
seen
you
it firsthand.
you know what I'm saying?
So
if
both-
you if you don't, it's hard to say.
Both
if
parties
black
could be
don't understand.
crucifying
If you
each
don't
other
see it,
for the
you don't
votes though.
understand.
No, yeah.
So they're trying to make
there's-
both parties look
There's
bad
always
for
good
the
and bad
votes.
apples on both sides. That is a fact.
But
But
I mean, the history there's been Democrat that has made some policies that hurt black people
Yeah.
more. So that's where that comes.
But
from.
just because of that, I can't say that all
No, yeah,
Democrats want to
definitely
down
not.
black
Definitely
people. I
not.
can't say
Definitely
that.
not. Definitely not. Let's keep going.
This policies
It's
in this
very
country
difficult to compare 2020's conservatism to 1880's conservatism. Oh, I was loving the 1v4.
So personally, I feel like there's really only one thing that white people have a true advantage over black people with, and it's that white people are less likely to be forced into a box. It happens with black people onto other black people, but it especially happens with white liberals onto black conservatives, where we are told that we are supposed to think a certain way, be a certain way, and if we're not, then we're called all these names like etc. And the worst of all is bootlicker, because I hate when a white liberal tells me as a black man that I'm a bootlicker, because then I ask, whose boot am I licking? Because you're telling me as a white person that me as a black person that I'm licking your boot because I don't think in this box that you want me to frame my mentality in. That to me is real racism, and that's what we need to stop allowing to happen to us, because black people are so quick now to not branch out and to have new ways of thinking, or to go into careers like agriculture and these other career paths that black people don't typically get into. It's not because of racism stopping them from getting in there. It's because we're told for so long that you have to follow this path and you have to think a certain way.
And that's
think
fact. Pause real quick, bro. He just went stupid,
No,
dog,
he
crazy.
He just
And
I
it's
agree
like
with
what we was
everything he
talking about the
said.
other day, bro.
I agree with everything he said. Is there any way you could blow the chat up?
How did you do that, Chad?
Man, chill. I got you, man.
But me and Ty was talking about the other day, bro. This isn't like that deep, but it is kind of what he was saying.
Yeah.
Imagine if black people love the gymnastics. They would be animals at it, bro.
Yeah. Look at Simone Biles.
That's what I'm saying though, but men though.
Oh yeah, you're saying like the box situation we're putting into.
Yeah, it's like you would think, man, that's some hoe ass
Yeah,
shit.
you
You
don't
don't
wanna do
doing
that
that
because people
But
make fun
like
of you.
the
Yeah.
twitch and athleticism, like black people could be world class gymnasts.
But
they
who
would
puts
never-
black people in the box though?
We do, because
We
we're
do.
the crabs
He
in the
said-
barrel.
he said- he
Cause
said-
you'll get on somebody's ass for doing
He
gymnastics.
said it, bro. He said blacks onto other blacks and whites,
On to-
liberals on the blacks. Like he
Blacks
said,
in there.
if you don't think a certain way or act a certain way, they get on you and call you names.
You not black,
and,
you
and they
don't vote for me.
You not black,
question
you
your
don't
they
vote
question
Joe
your
Rogan.
blackness.
You
I've
not
seen that
black, you
firsthand.
don't vote for
How
me.
are you black if you're not Democrat? How are you black and the conservative? You know, you see this shit all the time, man.
Joe
You
Biden
don't
did
see
it.
a lot of Xaviers out there. I've probably only
I fuck
seen
with
one
Xavier.
Xavier
I like
in my
Xavier.
life.
I like
fuck with
Xavier.
I like Xavier.
He's
fuck with
spitting.
Xavier.
I'm rocking with bro for
we
sure.
get into, it's not
For
because
sure.
of racism stopping them from getting in there. It's because we're told for so long that you have to follow this path and you have to think a certain way.
I think America is a great place for a black person. I think I'm an American. Anything that's available to you is available to me and mine.
I've personally never experienced white people having way more privileges than me. Like,
see,
I'm
black or
sure
white?
you could find certain
very light.
institutions where black people are treated differently, but in
Special
general, I don't think that I've missed out on anything because of being black. And if anything, it's given me more of a voice because people will want to hear what I say now because I'm black. So if anything, I have more of a platform now just on the basis of being a black conservative and saying what's not popular than I would if I was just a white person who was also conservative.
That is a fact.
Cooking.
That is a fact.
They are
They're doing very.
I'm sorry, but the white liberals is getting A right now.
The conservatives is up 1-0 right now.
I think I'm not gonna start. Someone else can start. Sorry.
I think affirmative action has
don't need to
served
talk
its
no more,
purpose.
man.
I
Go
think
ahead.
that it was necessary for a particular time, and I think that every black person knows how to get into college. Every black, I mean, you can pull out the names, the Oprah, President Obama. You can pull out the head of Time Warner was black man, the Forbes was black man. We know what to do now. We don't need affirmative action anymore. And to me, affirmative action is offensive sometimes, especially nowadays, because I have 6 children and 2 boys, 4 girls. And all of them went to Harvard and Columbia, and this one and that one. And it breaks my heart to think that they accomplished that goal of getting into these institutions just because of the color of their skin.
Definitely say that
She got
it
6
creates a lot
kids
of
into them
tension when you have
schools.
affirmative action. I remember my
Can we run
first
that
week
back?
at the University of Illinois.
You ain't hear?
I was
I
sitting
just want to
with
hear
a
what she
lot of-
said again. 'Cause she
And
was spitting.
it breaks my heart to think that they accomplished that goal of getting into these institutions just because of the color of their skin.
I can definitely say that it creates a lot of tension when you have affirmative action. I remember my first week at the University of Illinois, I was sitting with some classmates and a white student turned to me and jokingly like, hey Xavier, like, did you just attach a smiley face when you applied for this college? And I started asking what he meant, and he said to me that he was like, you're black, I'm assuming you had decent grades. You could have just attached a smiley face and you would have gotten into the university. So I was livid by that, and I went on and started naming all of my accomplishments,
But
and I
then you
felt so
would've fell
confident
into the
only for
statistics.
about an hour. Because then an hour later, I started saying to myself, like, wow, like, did I actually earn my way in here? I started to have this insecurity, and I started wondering to myself, did I earn this position myself, or did my ancestors' suffering earn this for me?
And too, I've seen it in the sense of like
cooking.
affirmative action taking away from other people who are minorities. Like I had a friend who was Asian and he in high school and he really wanted to go to MIT. That was his dream school. He interned there. He was super like prepared to go there and he didn't get in. And you can only assume that it was because of affirmative action because they have such a large Asian population that they want to admit other people.
Yeah, I was going to actually argue that it's more racist nowadays because it excludes so many Asian Americans from getting into universities who do deserve a spot and they can't get in because of affirmative action, which again, like you were saying, was necessary at the time.
Yeah.
But now it's like anybody, if you have the skills to do it and you're in America, you can get in.
I don't think affirmative action is the worst thing, considering all the different types or aspects of a background you might take into account when somebody's getting into college, whether they were in certain clubs, Boy Scouts, what type of classes they took, that might not be available to everybody. I don't think that factoring in the affirmative action is necessarily a bad thing, but I feel like because of everything you guys have said, the optics behind it are so horrible today that even if it is slightly beneficial in the long run for certain people, I think we can probably refocus most of that into figuring out like the class that people come from, the neighborhoods, the backgrounds or whatever, without it having to necessarily target race. The only thing that I kind of wonder now
I
that
like
I'm
him. I like him.
is
But you don't think
instead
that'd
of
make a
black
problem
person
too
being in
still?
school thinking like, man, am I
He's the only one kind of making a little sense.
No, that was
he's
pretty
very
good point.
well spoken.
I like him.
Yeah, I don't think that-
Because if you do affirmative action they go off maybe your income, your parents' household income, but they kind of do with FAFSA, right?
They go off how much your parents make.
But that's getting accepted into the school though.
Yeah, that's seeing if you
That's
need
different.
like assistance.
So yeah, you gotta get accepted on your own.
So,
Okay,
like-
yeah. So I can say, you
That's
know,
financial aid.
The only thing I can say,
But
about
then
then they gonna say you only here because you poor. But a lot of us was already poor in college
Bro, but
though.
like you don't
a lot
get
of people.
accepted off being poor though.
But then all the
That's what
people
they saying
who-
they do it.
Then that would kind of
Wait,
if you're a successful
said
parent.
You didn't hear him? He said you should just go off of the area code and like who's poor, like the
That's
poor.
what he just said.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he said. But like,
It done actually.
But that's why I ain't gonna lie.
think about
Vivek plan might actually work because if they just fund the schools, if everybody goes to the great schools, then everybody have the same opportunity.
Yeah.
Because they can't say like I was finna say everybody has that same opportunity. They go to the library and pick up a book, and everybody can read and everybody can have the same.
In that sense, I agree. Everyone does have the same opportunity.
But at the same time, I mean, it is some schools that don't. Like, what if your school don't got a computer and you can't really be on the same level as that Asian kid?
I don't know, man. I feel like most schools like have
They
that
do,
stuff.
but some
though.
schools
It may
are
not be.
underfunded though. Some schools are underfunded, bro.
I'm telling you, bro.
So in that aspect, Vivek is right. Like, let's just cut off that bad school and y'all go out till they go to a good school, a big school, and make it a bigger school.
But the only problem with that though, bro,
How you
a lot
gonna
of
get to
these
school type
man,
shit.
a lot of these lower income kids, like their parents will go to work, both of them, if they have both. So one of them go to work, boom, they take the bus to school because that's how they can get to school. So if you can go to any school and they give you money, even what are you gonna quit the job? How you gonna Uber them every day?
No,
Like,
that's why I was like, how are they gonna get on the bus? Did I ask Vivek that?
I think you did.
I don't know what he said. Like, how are they
forgot
gonna
too.
get on that bus?
I think
But
he said the
they gonna
money,
figure it out. They
giving
gonna
them
figure
the
it out.
money.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I feel like both ways gonna be kind of hard though.
There's always gonna be a problem with something.
Is his name Christy? All right, we're gonna see again. He's cooking though. I like him.
People come from the
talking about
neighborhoods, the
Destiny?
backgrounds
Yeah,
or
Destiny.
whatever, without it having to necessarily target race. The only thing that I kind of wonder now that it's gone is instead of a black person being in school thinking like, man, am I here because I'm an affirmative action pick? Is it going to be a kid that is poor or a kid that's from a different zip code?
I think we
who's
should
gonna
do
think-
away with all of it. Just like submit an application, no demographics. Why do they ask your sexuality? Like, why do they ask all that?
That is the good point. Why do they ask that? They even ask that on jobs.
They gotta ask.
So,
they have to though.
They should know if
If
you're straight.
affirmative
For
action
census.
accomplished its purpose,
Oh, I guess it makes
why do
sense.
we still see the disparities that we do in the professional workplace? If you average white wealth and compare it to black wealth totals, white people as a whole have about 50 times greater wealth than black people as a
There's
whole.
more white people than us.
Per capita. So I just don't
that's not an
understand why you
excuse.
think
Per capita.
affirmative action has accomplished its purpose. I don't see
Curious, why do you assume that just because there is a disparity means it's because of a racial issue?
It's
that.
not.
What else would it be from?
I mean,
Upbringing, economic
Culture.
ability.
Shout out
Desire
Rick.
to go, desire to.
I mean,
So
zip
it
code
was their
does
fault.
play a lot. If you grow up in a neighborhood that experiences a lot of trauma, you're not as likely to do as well in school, which means you're.
Why did they grow up in a neighborhood that experiences a lot of trauma?
I mean, lots of people do.
Yes,
live in
but
a-
why specifically do more black people?
He haven't been
Because
in
of
the hood.
slavery.
Government assistance programs like what?
Try redlining.
Section 8.
I mean, you can go into that if you'd like to, but let's
It
take a
is
look
relevant.
at the
His
Great
party
Society
did all
Project,
this
which was created to kick black fathers out of the home and get black mothers on welfare assistance. These things aren't beneficial for economics. These things aren't beneficial for actually paving a way for success for black children and black families. I mean, reducing a two-family household to a one-family household
he's
isn't going to
cooking.
make them the richest
He
man in
is
the world.
killing.
It isn't even going to get them out of high school.
Easy.
Nonetheless, the ability to
parent.
even get to college.
You mean
Because
two-parent?
The child,
Run
yes,
for
but a
office one day.
two-parent household
Yeah.
in
We
comparison
need
to
to
a
bring him
one-parent
on.
household,
Facts.
that
I
child
like
is not
him.
going to be nearly as
Yeah, you
successful. That
swear.
child is more disposed to being
No,
sent
he not.
into prison by doing
you
crime
defeat.
or not doing very well in school. So how are they even supposed to get that, that wealth disparity shrunk if they aren't even able to get out of the community that is causing these problems for them?
Like, my
Something I
brother
think that
came
this
ready.
conversation illustrates is that like affirmative action is literally the very end of the line of a lot of different parts of a person's life. And by that point, trying to rectify all of the inequities that have existed, to try to remedy any of that at the very end with affirmative action, it might just be too broad a brush. And maybe we'd be better served focusing on the earlier issues than trying to throw a kid who maybe, can barely read at a 6th grade level into a college to hope
Hey,
that
keep
that's
paused
the
there.
thing that fixes
He
the
need to
problem.
live, right?
I think
He-
affirmative
he
action
can't-
wasn't
yeah.
really supposed to like
him.
send kids to Harvard that weren't prepared to go to Harvard. I think that's quite a myth, in fact.
I agree.
I think those that
better
have
do
the
that.
qualities to get to Harvard were before affirmative action were could just completely overlooked. Clarence Thomas is like the perfect example. Regardless of what you think about him, he was able to get to Harvard because of affirmative action because it focused on finding people that were, again, like just overlooked for those.
I agree with that.
Ended up changing. It morphed into something else. So
I agree.
what
It's not like
started
that
out
no
as a
more.
good
Yeah. It's
program
not.
of giving all black
Can we
people,
pause that real quick?
with
That's all.
Because you see how he said like he wasn't he wouldn't have been able to go to Harvard, but they went and sought him out, and he was like would have been overlooked because he couldn't like afford it, but he had the qualities to get in type stuff. And
Keyword.
who was that other person we saw on TV? Joy Reid. She said that they did the same thing to me.
Yeah.
And then people was like, and we was like tearing her up, but like that's because that's what affirmative action was.
Yeah.
But it's morphed into something else. Now it's like, oh, now we're gonna admit you because you're black. Like you may not have as high grades as them other kids, but you average and you black. And we're gonna put you in. I guess
So,
that's what they saying it morphed into.
I got a question though. So like, when I did like my college applications, like how they basing all that off of like my skin color and race, like that's crazy. Cause like, imagine if I went to JUCO and tried to go to Harvard. I can't go to Harvard from JUCO.
What?
Nah.
No,
But I don't think that's regardless of your color. They don't take
JUCO kids. Another thing
That's
is
crazy.
Another thing is you're on a different scale though. Like you also black and you an athlete, so you could have gotten in with lower
the
skills
athlete
anyway.
card.
But the athlete card really changes it. Like, 'cause I remember I talked to my counselor.
Make that school some money.
I think I had like going to my senior year, my weighted GPA was like 2.89. I had like a 3.1 weighted, but that didn't count when you apply to college. I thought I wasn't gonna get in, and she was like, "Nah, you an athlete, like so like you can have like a 2.4 and get in."
No, yeah. I think you could get in.
Like every time you see like the regular student requirements and you put on an athlete scale, yours were way lower.
I ain't gonna lie, I think you can get in with a 2.1.
Wow.
Yeah,
so,
it's something like that. I think you got the 2.1 to be eligible.
Well,
but it makes sense because you contribute something. You bring something to the table.
Yeah.
These
You
other
bring in
kids,
money.
What are you bringing to the table? If you're not gonna come, represent the school, compete for the school, help out the school, then
What Destiny said at first, though, I do agree with him. Like, it was needed. I mean, he didn't say it was
it
needed.
was needed. It
but-
was.
I mean, it did serve a good purpose.
Back whenever things was different.
Now
it
is the
was
day.
needed.
If we really need, I ain't gonna say like a booming economy, but Asian people should be able to get in school they want to if they're doing their job, bro. It shouldn't be discounted.
Yeah, I
if
feel
they're
like they were
not.
being discounted because they were being admitted at such a higher rate. But they're those children in those cultures,
They was raised right.
Yeah, they honor that type of stuff more.
Yeah.
They seek that type of stuff out more. You
So
know,
for them then
Punish
not
them
get
for
it,
it.
that was
to
that
be
was-
like
that's-
penalized
sucks.
for it is crazy.
Yeah.
Cause
Remember
I
that day
it's
we watched
crazy.
that video?
We did.
Or maybe
About
they
the
didn't stop putting
Indians.
schools on a
Remember
pedestal.
he was talking
bro.
about how the Indian people
Yeah,
raised their
Asian. That's the
family.
Asian scale.
Yeah, they different, bro.
They need to stop putting
Yeah.
schools on a pedestal though. Like,
Anyways,
That's
let's get into this.
Actually, I'm gonna say one thing. I actually saw this thing where it said that all these schools got put on a pedestal back in the day because of the newspaper, basically. So like they were promoting schools, like Harvard, it got overly promoted in the newspaper. That's how everybody wanted to go.
Really, it's Ivy
Yeah.
League. Is that not why?
I don't know, but like,
They have, like-
think about it. They boosted that though.
It's
Yeah,
like
who's
it's considered prestigious though.
Yeah,
I
but
think
they-
what
'cause they boosted
eventually
it.
happened, they got the best teachers though, probably the
Yeah,
hardest
they
tests.
probably
Yeah,
have
'cause
like
they was
they probably
boosted
have
in
like
the-
higher quality stuff. But I saw like in Harvard College of Business, they like getting lectured on chalkboards.
Yeah, they are. I saw that too.
That's crazy.
There are
Like-
facilities that don't look like.
Because
that
at UL,
crazy.
we even had like the smart board at
Yeah.
least. Like, and we had dry erase boards and smart boards.
They there
and stuff.
to learn.
They're on chalk type stuff.
All right, let's keep going.
that would be crazy. They just boosted it.
Before affirmative
They did
action
boost-
were could just completely
seen a video on
overlooked. Clarence Thomas is like the perfect example. Regardless of what you think about him, he was able to get to Harvard because of affirmative action. Because
Hold on, you just messed me up with this one.
Read that. Somebody read it. Tulsa race riots were not based off race. It was about a rape court case that got out of control. Actual Just Warrior did a video on the exact debate. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of mixed things about the
I ain't gonna
Tulsa
say
thing.
I don't know, man. I'm
race.
from Tulsa.
No, but that's the thing though. Well, y'all was taught on it.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's Oklahoma history.
Yeah. So they basically just said it was a race war, basically.
They said that like basically the way that we were taught, like racists came through
Yeah.
and they like came down there, started something, and they blew a bunch of shit up.
Yeah.
Blew a bunch of like Black Wall Street and Black wealth up.
Yeah, I'm
See,
not gonna
I
say
know-
that
but-
wasn't about race.
Yeah, no, that's
It
how
might have
we
been.
heard like racist people came
I
down
don't
to the
know.
town,
Yeah, we don't
started
know.
problems and destroyed it all.
Abomination, bombed our nation. That's an abomination.
Who said that again?
Lil Wayne, didn't it?
But look though, I actually been seeing a lot of videos on like the truth of Tulsa race riot. You know,
Well,
so
we
I don't
can
know.
look into it.
You know,
I'd like to know, you know.
I don't know.
the perfect example. Regardless of what you think about him, he was able to get to Harvard because of affirmative action, because it focused on finding people that were, again, like just overlooked for those.
But things ended up changing. It morphed into something else. So what started out as a good program of giving all black people or people with a lesser chance or lesser opportunity, it started out as that, and then it morphed and I'm not sure who morphed it, but it morphed into, okay, so now we have to have one black, one Hispanic, one this, one that.
That's not how that works.
But hey, talk to the corporations, talk to the people who hire, talk to the board members who say we need to have a woman on the board, we need to have a black on the board, we need to have a Latina, a Latinx, whatever on the board. So it morphed from helping us into now
tokenization.
Yes. So you have to have one of this, one of that.
Well, when you start with a country where people only hire you if you're white, that's necessary. And I know that you said that it started good and then ended whatever. And I don't think that affirmative action was perfect by any measure, but we still see really, really bad inequality. So if you're going to get rid of affirmative action, what's the replacement?
Meritocracy.
There's no meritocracy in this country. You look at Elon Musk; he's destroying Twitter. There's no meritocracy. That's
it's the same thing.
It's not a myth that there are minorities that are being put into college just that they're not ready for. If you look at a lot of these top universities, including Harvard, Yale, etc., you're going to see a lot of minorities on academic probation because they are being placed in universities that they are not ready for. They are not cut out for that just yet. And it even just makes sense if you look at how much they have to achieve in order to get there. Asian students on average have to score 450 points higher than a black student in order to get in the same university.
This is true, bro. I was seeing this video. My dad was upset because this lady from Yale was a teacher. She was talking to another teacher, and I don't think that she knew that people were recording, but she was on a Zoom. I think she was older. Did y'all see that video?
Yeah,
she was all like,
she said
I'm keeping 100. Like most of my students that have the lower grades are black. She said every year. And my dad said that to me. He was like, this is why you need to, and all that, you need to do this in school and whoa, whoa, whoa.
Nah, but you know what?
That's crazy.
I don't know, man.
I don't know, bro.
The school thing, like, I would actually find it kind of offensive. Like, okay, so especially in the master's program, like, I would be in there and I'd be the only, like, American black person in there. So, like, I feel like they was kind of giving me, like, pats on the ass. Oh, good, bro, good, yeah. Damn!
Yeah.
I'm in the house, Yeah. So I was like, damn. And anytime I would do something, they'd be like, that was so good. They would do that for them. I'm like, brother, I don't need no special treatment, my brother. I'm not no whole ass nigga.
Yeah, man.
That's crazy.
Sucks. Yeah.
But my brother,
I've definitely.
my brother said, bro, he work in he work in a very big company. And he said they do that same shit. They'll be like, the odds you be sitting there, they'll be like, so Zach, how was your weekend, buddy? Did you have fun? Yeah. Are you comfortable? And he like,
might as well get up and
like,
start tapping you down there.
I don't need that.
Innocent, start tapping your toes.
And they called you Michael B. Jordan, Brandon.
Because they are being placed in universities that they are not ready for. They are not cut out for that just yet. And it even just makes sense if you look at how much they have to achieve in order to get there. Asian students on average have to score 450 points higher than a black student in order to get in the same university. So if you think of the universities that have courses, et cetera, that grade on a curve, you can only have so many people with an A, so many people with a B, et cetera. So that means that the bottom percentile is going to fail. Who is most likely, just based on logic, going to be the ones failing? It's going to be the people who didn't have the credentials to get there in the first place. And then I have to bounce back to
I want to get you on that point, because I would posit that the people who are least likely to have good outcomes in an academic setting are those who have to work 2 jobs, are those who have to drive there from home because they can't afford a dorm, are those who have to go into crippling financial debt.
How do you
These
know
are and have other stresses in their life. They can't afford a doctor, they can't afford a dentist, they can't afford anything.
I'm sorry we paused it so much, but man, that's some bullshit. Because I've seen athletes who full-time athlete and working the job, and they got to drive there, and they make it happen.
Yeah.
If you want to make it happen, hey, wolf or sheep.
How is he assuming
wolf
that?
Or sheep.
All of them
wolf
are poor.
Or sheep.
Bro, I don't know. He just keeps equating all his points back to like poor people.
We gotta
he wants
get
like
through this, man.
the government to help poor people. I think like he has like good intentions, but he's like he don't really know what he's talking about.
Now education.
He want to hit you with the tap
Keep
on
it
the
on it
head.
though.
Yeah, he really want to pat niggas on the ass type shit.
You're doing You got your master's.
I ain't gonna cap, bro. I was the only black GA, and they never.
But
like,
I'm gonna keep it
I
100.
don't feel like I got no special
If
treatment.
a black person
they
in
treated me the
Harvard
same as everybody else.
or Ivy League, he probably did not go to a poor school most of the time.
Well, actually,
Most of the
I don't
time.
know,
Richard
man.
Sherman, bro, graduated from Compton High School. And then remember when he made that play, he was talking all that trash.
But that's
he was like,
rare,
he's a
bro.
thug, this and that.
That's rare.
That man made a 3 on his ACT and went to Stanford.
Yeah, he
He
had
ain't
Stanford
rare
graduate.
from Compton High School. But that's what my
Rare.
point, though. If you want it,
You can
wolf
get it.
or sheep. Wolf or sheep.
That's
You
true.
decide what you want to do in life.
That is true. That is true. That's true.
You control your outcome. Well, I can't say you control your outcome, but you
But I
control
would
the
say if
majority
you're
of it.
black at Harvard, we're not gonna. It's not 100%, but a lot. Okay, we're talking about the majority of them. I would say
Probably
90% of them
schools, yeah.
probably came from a family with money.
Yes,
Probably.
for sure. I can
So
say that.
education. What you got? These virtual. Yeah, real quick. All right. We can discuss till he gets back.
I'm just gonna say this, man. I ain't gonna lie, bro. When I went to all black school, man, education was not
on everybody's mind.
Exactly.
They do pat you on the butt too much, man. I got told when I went to math class, literally, if you come, you're gonna get an A or a B. When I went to a white school, they took more education serious, bro.
Well, that ain't happening.
They took it serious, bro.
They gonna say, boy.
So it starts with the teachers, bro. Like it really does.
My brain.
It starts with how the community takes education seriously.
It starts with
believe.
everything.
So it's a lot of factors.
We gotta
right
get through
there.
this, man.
A lot of
To
factors.
have good outcomes in an academic setting are those who have to work 2 jobs, are those who have to drive there from home because they can't afford a dorm, are those who have to go into crippling financial debt. These are and have other stresses in their life. They can't afford a doctor, they can't afford a dentist, they can't afford anything.
I had to do
so
that too, though.
Those are the
That's
people.
not just black people. It's not just.
But it's
If we're looking at
overwhelmingly.
straight numbers, there are more white people in poverty than black people.
If you look at the raw numbers, but if you
I don't know,
actually
what are the
understand
wrong
what you're talking
numbers?
about.
No
the
number
issue
is
is poverty
wrong.
in general, though. I don't think it's like who's in poverty. It's like poverty sucks. It
Maybe we
shouldn't
should make
matter
college
who's in it.
free, and maybe we want to have it. Furban actually wouldn't be that necessary.
And it'll get even
Free
more
college
ghetto.
with
If you have a program that says if you are under a certain income level, this is how we'll help you, that will overwhelmingly help black people at a far greater percentage than it will help white
Really?
people.
Man,
Because then they're just gonna purposely go under that level.
Trump supports Black Lives. No,
I knew he was coming at.
that's crazy. Everybody said no. They're my two brothers.
Even the 2 ladies in the back. What did they say? They don't or they do?
He does. They're the only ones that agree that
the
he
ones
does.
that walked out said yes.
I think that President Trump supports all lives. I think that he looks at all American citizens as equal. I don't see him doing anything that would make you feel like he does not support Black lives.
I'm gonna say yes,
That's of course
bro.
going to lead into the conversation
keep it
of Black
100.
Lives Matter, which was a movement and an organization with so much corruption. Donald Trump not supporting that organization doesn't mean that he doesn't support Black lives. It just means that he doesn't support the fraudulent organization that's stealing so much money from so many people to do absolutely nothing with it. Nor does he support a destructive movement that is destroying cities, communities, lives, etc. So I don't see why someone would think that President Trump doesn't support Black lives.
We need a bowl in here.
I've heard him say he knows all the best black people. He has all the best black friends. I do support black people all the time. So sorry, that was a very bad impression. But I don't think Donald Trump wants bad things to happen to black people. So in that respect, I think he does support Black lives. But the other side of that is he's not really doing anything. He didn't do anything as president, certainly, to uplift
I
black
don't
people.
know. See, that's wrong.
He's the first black
That's wrong.
I certainly disagree with that.
I disagree.
What does he do for the economy?
You're a fucking idiot, man.
We'll get into that one later. One of the biggest things he did is he secured permanent funding for HBCUs, one of the largest increases we ever saw for HBCUs, personally done by his administration, among many other things.
Facts.
The First Step Act, which there's a lot of debate about whether it was really the best thing to do, but that was definitely a kiss of love to the black race. Freeing Alice Johnson for menial drug crimes she committed in the past that had her locked up. She did not get to see her family for years.
Yeah, but that's not like
an average of
okay.
70
I did
months.
say I agree, but I agree in the
Average.
sense that Donald Trump doesn't literally want bad things to happen to black people, like I think a lot of conservatives do. So I think that he just says the most yeah, I do think that. I think he says the things that will get him elected. So I don't think that he has any personal
Man, this guy
grudges
is a
against
freaking liberal.
certain, most people. He just says the most popular thing. So I think like Ron DeSantis would be, Ron DeSantis
did
would be
it, though.
somebody that I think
You think-
actually wants
don't
black
lie.
people to be hurt. So by
Bro,
that
bro,
standard,
whoa.
yeah, Donald Trump supports Black lives by leaps and bounds.
You think Donald Trump says the most popular thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a fool,
Really?
man.
Yes.
Then why do
You
so many
know-
people hate him?
He got elected as president.
Yes, he did.
So
Yeah.
He didn't win the popular
Joe
vote
Biden made everything sound
either
great.
time.
That's a
That's
liberal
what your
talking
side
point.
loves to say.
That's
Yeah.
a liberal talking
I'm
point.
helping you here. I'm trying to see the logic in this. Obviously, he says things to be elected as a politician very similarly to how Joe Biden did, except Joe Biden actually has a history of racism.
Facts.
He said
know,
things
like,
that
you don't
people
vote for
didn't
me.
like,
Facts.
he wouldn't have been our president.
So you like everything that Donald Trump says? You think everything he says is popular?
I love a lot of the things he says. I think he's hilarious. When he said big water, that was one of my favorite quotes. Big water.
Water, big water, ocean water.
He has the funniest one-liners, so I love a lot of the things he says. As far as policy, he sucks, but
Man, this
He's
guy,
wearing a
man.
Hunter Biden hat. He likes a different kind of one line.
oh, he's I know conservatives love talking about his.
No, Coke. It's different. Coke, not.
Trump
I don't
is
like
less
this
of
guy,
the
bro.
issue and more so the
He's a
people
dork.
that support him, like die hard. They facilitate that kind of like hate, I think, for a lot of people, not just black people, but like.
I mean, this man took out like a full page in a newspaper calling for the public execution of 5 black kids. His hotels, all of his businesses have rampant history of
You don't remember
denying
Part
black
5?
people apartments or whatever. So
I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
that was in the video. You don't remember that?
Look, I mean, Donald Trump cares about Donald Trump, so I don't think he really cares about anyone. I guess unless
But-
you're like super rich or
Let's
whatever.
pause that.
When you look at his history on racial issues,
But the Park 5, like, I can't say is because he didn't know. He was getting what the press was telling
Yeah,
him.
he was going off what everyone else thought at the time.
So
and
I
that's
can-
why they got like a movie and stuff to show what really happened.
Yeah, so
That was messed up.
They got framed.
I couldn't even watch it.
So I mean, he obviously just fell into the hole, you know. And as a New Yorker, I can understand his outrage. I mean, if you
He's
found
a
out,
person, too.
you found out it was 5 murderers in your town that wasn't really murderers, but everybody think they murderers, and you supposed to be a big name. Would you not speak
Influencer.
out in support of like
The woman?
the law?
Yeah.
Like in a sense, that makes sense to me. Like I'm not trying to like justify what he did.
No, it was that whole situation was pretty
Everybody
bad.
was brainwashed to the fact that they thought they was bad people, but they really wasn't.
Look, I mean, Donald Trump cares about Donald Trump, so I don't think he really cares about anyone, I guess, unless you're like super rich or whatever.
when you look at his history on racial issues, whether it's the shithole countries comment, the plethora of comments he made about Mexican people, just the comments he's made about Muslims, the
Was
idea
he
that
wrong,
Trump
though?
cares at all about some particular racial minority,
Was
I think
he
is a
wrong,
little bit
though?
silly. I think Trump will say whatever he needs to say to rile up his base and to get elected.
I don't necessarily think those statements come from a place of hatred.
Like,
I don't
literally.
think he was ever saying specifically, oh, if you pray 5 times a day towards the east or towards Mega based on wherever you are, you're a bad person. I think he was saying if you like to fly planes into towers or behead people or throw people off of buildings, maybe you're not the most virtuous person out there.
I supported Trump because he made the economy good, and so the economy then impacted black people, white people, Latino people. It impacted everybody. But Trump, he didn't think specifically, I don't think, about black people. He thought about himself, and he thought about how can I make America great for me, and making and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go with this guy, and the reason I'm gonna go with this guy is because if he can make America great and he can make that it rise for everybody, I'm gonna benefit from that. So that's why I went, and that's why I voted for him. That's why I supported him.
How does it
hearing
specifically
a lot of
benefit
old
black people? Again, he's a businessman, but he's also a racist businessman, like well documented so. So
Where's
like
it
I
at?
just
And
Where's the
Biden's
documents,
not.
buddy?
Biden's not.
yes, he is. He created the crime bill.
Thank you.
So that's
He's
but
the
that's
president.
that's
I don't
regardless
think
of
the
the
crime
Well,
bill
point.
address the
is
Central Park 5.
I
That's
put your ass in jail.
How do
You're
you
not black
feel
if you
about
don't
that?
vote for me.
Well,
took that full
actually,
page out after
okay.
they were
So
exonerated.
I haven't.
He wanted them
dealt-
to be killed,
Well,
That is why I didn't
executed,
step forward,
just because they were
because of
black.
That story.
and
But,
he
yeah.
he bars people from attending his businesses or like renting apartments from all his like stupid Trump towers. I just like
I think Trump at that point was, like many people in this
You
room,
hate him.
particularly liberals, a victim of the media.
Thank
I
you.
think
Thank
he
you.
was
Just
scared.
said that.
I
I
think
literally
he
just
was
said
ashamed of the
that.
things that he heard in the news and wanted to take action himself as a businessman, not as a
Why are you
racist.
infantilizing him?
I don't like also real quick.
Infantilizing.
bring
Are
up this
you
comparison
hoe?
to
What
the
does he have
93
on?
crime bill from Biden. That crime
This guy
bill,
sucks.
this was at the height of like violent crime and the crack
No, I ain't
epidemic
mad
in
at
the
the
United
crime
States.
bill. I ain't
The
gonna lie
Congressional
to you.
Black Caucus supported that crime
I
bill.
ain't mad.
Everybody in the United States supported that crime bill.
Get them,
The idea that that crime bill was like some racist piece of legislation that Biden was just wheeling out because he hates black people, and that's somehow comparable to the Donald Trump's treatment of the Central
called
Park
them
5 that were
predators.
already exonerated. That
niggas
wasn't a
is
victim of the media.
predators.
He just said they were done. They were exonerated in court. They weren't there. Where
As
they
I
claimed they were
understand
doing
it, the prosecutor of the 5, they actually he was a black guy. And so in being a black guy, he went and he looked at all the evidence and said, these guys are guilty.
Black people can also be racist against other black people.
Or just make mistakes.
Wow.
So if anybody does anything you disagree with, regardless of Central Park 5, even if they themselves are a black person, they're just a self-loathing black person, they're just a racist black person. That prosecuted
Evidence and said, these guys are guilty.
Black people can also be racist against other black people.
Or just make mistakes.
So if anybody does anything you disagree with in regards to the Central Park 5, even if they themselves are a black person, they're just a self-loathing black person, they're just a racist black person.
If they disagree
that
with me, they're
prosecutor
racist.
was doing his job.
What?
That's my policy. If they disagree with me, they're racist.
I like that.
I think Trump, Trump has shown a history of ignorant at best and racist at worst behavior. I didn't vote for him or Hillary because I just don't see him as a conservative hero. I don't even think he's a conservative.
Fake
personally.
conservative. I voted Trump in 2016, just so you all know. So I'm just saying.
So I need you to elaborate on if people disagree with you, they're racist, just in general.
I was just kidding.
He's just,
I like it.
You never know. Just like
One
the
of those
hat.
kind of moments.
Sorry if I triggered you. I'm sorry.
You made
No,
a
I'm not
point.
sure. I just
You made
need
a
to know.
point
Besides the one
a couple
guy.
minutes back where you said he just kind of says these things to rile up his base. Why does he need to do that at the expense of black people then?
He doesn't do that at the. I am a member of his base, and I'm sitting there like, oh man, this is amazing. And I don't know, you can call me self-loathing, you can call me self-hating,
so you're
you can call me
saying calling
racist.
for the public execution of 5 black men that were exonerated to
When has
rile
he
up
done
his
that
base?
during the campaign trail? He didn't do that when he was a politician.
Well,
he did that when
again,
he was a
it's
scared businessman
everything.
in New York.
It's
feeling
everything
bad.
Steve said about the comments about Muslims, the comments about Mexican immigrants.
But was he
Why
It's
does he
never
need-
about Mexican immigrants, never about Muslims, about terrorists and about criminals and rapists.
Thank you.
These are
Was
very
he
important
wrong,
delineations
though?
to make. And if you believe
I
that,
think you
as the media,
understand,
about,
or
oh, it's all
I think
Mexican
it's-
immigrants.
man.
Man, Chandler
keep
must
it
have ate
100,
off
man.
the PPP. I know when a nigga ate off the PPP. He look like he ate.
Hey, I'm rocking with Chandler,
Chandler
man.
might have got my 50,000.
I'm rocking with Chandler, man.
These are very important delineations to make, and if you believe
I
that
think
what
you
were fed to media
understand,
about,
or
oh, it's
I
all
think
Mexican
it's-
immigrants, I think it's more of you being, oh man,
That's
these
racist
poor
to say he hates
Mexicans,
PPP.
they need to be supported. It's more of that savior
Facts.
complex.
I was that guy that
Wow,
was
we're
like,
back
"Facts."
here.
Behind axing or trying to axe DACA, where these people were registered with the federal government, they were in school, they were doing everything that they needed to do. They had no home elsewhere. They were brought into this country as minors. Like, what's the explanation for that?
I think that requires more nuance. Like I mentioned before, I
already
think there were some
paid for their
people.
education.
I think
Why
there
would
were
you
some
wanna pay
people
for that?
feeding him bad policy advice, thinking, "Oh, this will be really good for your base," and he's doing a lot as a
Just
president.
That's
infantilizing
okay.
him.
That's okay if we feel that way.
Infantilizing.
So,
but
so
at the
if
end-
pissing
so
me
if
off with that
I
word.
so if I
He
take
think he's so
responsibility for
smart.
something, if I say he has responsibility for something, well then you're right. But if I'm saying, well maybe there are some people around him advising him falsely,
Dude,
it's infantilizing.
He
him.
was the president.
There's
Bro,
no
he's so
good way.
smart,
He
bro.
called the shots.
But if someone
What
was
are you
awesome-
talking about?
The only
Bro,
path
he's
forward
so
to solving
Hunter
illegal
Biden.
immigration
I can't believe
starts
this.
with amnesty for
He's a
everybody
fucking
here.
asshole.
The reality is there's some 10 to 15 million illegal immigrants here. We're not deporting them all.
With the people who are already here, that's a lot more of a messy, nuanced conversation. But as far as people coming in, I do think we need stronger borders and actual like vetting happening.
And I just want to say, in Ronald Reagan's day, he was given the promise. He said, look, if you go ahead and you pass this particular bill, we'll give these people amnesty and we're done. And it didn't happen. We didn't. Illegal immigration continued even after Reagan already said we will give these people amnesty. So that's why we get a burr up our butt, because he had already done it.
Hopefully the devil's giving him amnesty.
That's terrible.
No, that's base. Thank you.
Tasteless.
That was crazy.
Wow.
Ninth circle, baby.
This guy's a
My political
cornball, bro.
beliefs have
I don't like
changed
him.
from the past.
Chandler, he got
Hey.
that PPP. I know it, nigga. But
I grew up in a conservative household, actually, in Ohio. And my
Everybody
parents were always pretty political, so I always stayed political. I was very religious as a teenager. Sometime during college and then afterwards, especially during COVID, my sister actually indoctrinated me into a more leftist position. And I overcorrected a little bit. I started becoming pretty cringy as far as like, sit down and let the minorities all talk.
It's cringy
right?
now.
Don't say anything, don't speak over them, etc. They would, it was like the whole you can't speak over Candace Owens even if she's literally a Nazi kind of thing.
Wow.
So
That's crazy.
I stand by that.
because-
So
I swear they be
yeah, I
telling
kind
me,
of leveled
get
out
off Candace
thankfully,
nuts
and
for
I'm
real,
less cringe
dog.
now. And
Did you? Are you?
I cringe.
He said I'm less cringe now. I told you he's still cringy.
you can, I mean, maybe I am being cringe. Who cares?
I
think he's so
grew
smart,
up conservative, but I did have more left-leaning ideas about like Black Lives Matter and critical race theory, and I was watching a lot of YouTube, And you know, I did agree that black people were oppressed and all
Thank
of these
you.
different things, and that we were kind of got the short end of the stick. And during 2020, when there was, you know, everything crazy was happening, and I started organizing rallies against the mandates because I thought that they were just totally unconstitutional and un-American. And then George Floyd dies. And initially I was like enraged like everybody else. And then it started to become this weird like political like agenda masquerading or behind his face. Like it just, the face of what was actually happening started to peel off. And I was like, oh, I mean, I would counter protest BLM activists at my town square when I lived in Texas. And they were some of the most just bitter, vile, horrible people you could ever meet. Meanwhile, like the Confederate group that would protest there against them also, they were like the nicest people ever to me, ironically.
I grew up in a Democratic, not a Democratic household,
Me
but
too,
kind of
girl.
apolitical, but everybody was Democrat. And
Yeah,
then
that's my house
I
right
got
there.
a job. And when I got a job and I saw all the taxes come out, and
No,
then
no, it's
I started
Obama.
looking to the left and to the right and going, oh, my money's whittling away over here. And I said, you know what? After Reagan, I'm just going to go ahead and declare myself a Republican. And I've been a Republican ever since.
My mom is pretty liberal. She married my stepdad when I was like 15, 16 in high school, and he's super conservative, like loved Trump, diehard Trump fan. And they had a lot of like back and forth, hearing the two sides, like people who are on such polar opposites just like argue all the time about stuff, seeing that there's a lot of similarities in both sides, like the far radical left and the far radical right. They have a lot of similarities. They just don't want to come and like see it.
I started off actually kind of similar to you. I went to a Jesuit high school. I grew up
Not
very
him.
conservative.
Her.
My mom is Cuban, so ride or die Bush supporter, who is now a ride or die Trump supporter. I think the point of my life when I was the most like libertarian was probably the lowest point of my life financially. And I think it's because something that conservatives do really well is they make you feel like you can always like succeed as long as you work hard enough. And that's something that progressives and liberals suck at. That you're a victim of systemic racism, you're black so you're going to be discriminated against, you're a woman so nobody's going to care about your feelings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas Republicans will tell you, listen, if you work hard, you can do whatever you want, like just as long as you're willing to put in the work. And I felt that way up to the moment where I was losing my house, where I had an ex-girlfriend that was pregnant, where I had been fired from my previous job. There was a whole bunch of horrible stuff going on in my life, and I very, very luckily got into online content creation. And from there, as I started to make more money, I started to pay more taxes. When I get older and I look at taxes that come out of my paycheck, I mean, I care a little bit, but it was just so funny to me that back when I was making 15, 20,000 a year, I'm like, I gotta vote for the lower tax bracket, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm barely paying any taxes anyways. And you know, now that I'm older, like if the government wants to take, you know, a few, you know, 10, 20, whatever, how many more $1,000.
You just said you worked hard.
I did, but I got very, very, very lucky doing so. Very lucky.
You worked hard.
It's not just luck, but the difference is that born into a wealthier family,
Can-
you
can-
make
real quick
so
pause,
much
quick
more
pause.
mistakes in life.
I did see this.
He said basically he believed in hard work until bad things start happening to him.
Yeah,
But
he did.
were those bad things, did they just happen to you? You got your girlfriend pregnant. Your ex-girlfriend pregnant. You got fired. You didn't get laid off. That's not your fault.
Yeah, he said
you
he
got
got
fired.
fired.
So what'd you do to get fired? And why did you get your ex pregnant?
Yeah.
Those are choices
He
you
was in
made.
he was in them cheeks in the morning. Got late too many times.
I did, but I got very, very, very lucky doing so. Very lucky.
You think it's just luck?
It's not just luck, but the difference is that born into a wealthier family, you can make so many more mistakes in life. And when you're born poor, you get like one or two before your life is over. And that's really sad to me.
Yeah, so I used to be a liberal. I voted for Bernie Sanders in 2016.
He was
As
liberal.
much as I regret that
Super
now.
liberal.
I told you,
my
Bernie,
family was pretty
I
left-wing.
like
Some of the people in
Bernie.
my family were like radically left, like would refer to white people as blue-eyed, red-headed devils,
Oh, that's
things of that
insane.
nature.
Hey,
And as I got
I didn't
older,
heard it.
I actually started being really outspoken for BLM. I was supposed to be on a reality show teaching people how to be a BLM activist.
Dang.
At the
Glad you
time,
did it,
I did a
brother.
deep dive
Man,
on
that PPP
BLM,
made
and I
niggas
started to
change.
realize all of these lies. So then I took a step back. I'm like, okay, what else am I being lied to about? And I started looking at the Democratic Party and questioning my own loyalty to being on the left.
I personally think both sides tend to be racist in different ways. I don't think the government is on the side of the people in general, and that's just me being, you know, a radical.
When I was young, I used to jump for joy and say, oh yeah, Obama, black president, that's so amazing. He's the same color as me. But when I started to do more research, one of the biggest things I was confused about is, well, why is he a Democrat? What is a Democrat? I did more research about the Democrat Party. And sure, you guys are gonna pop off about the head saying, oh, there's a party switch in the Southern strategy and all these things.
Which is true.
Which you may say is true. I don't believe it is true at all.
You're
I
wrong.
understand, you may
What'd
think
he
I'm
say?
wrong.
You are
However,
wrong.
one of the biggest
I don't
questions
like
I had
him, bro.
was
He think
why
he's
is
so
Obama
smart.
in the same party
Oh,
as the
we can get
people
down,
that
homie.
started the KKK, the same people that voted against the Civil Rights Act, the same people that are on the news talking about how black people aren't able to accomplish anything and need to be on welfare and need to be promoted with affirmative action and things of that nature.
I also, in terms of, I
you're
guess, of
wrong.
my political journey, I was raised conservative, actually. And then high
realized you
school
were a
became,
pussy.
I guess, sort of apolitical. And then
kidding.
throughout college and I guess just throughout my life since then, I think I guess you can call me a progressive, you can call me, socialist, whatever you, but I guess that's, in the area of where I fall. You said that you were a Bernie fan in 2016 and then you transitioned to being, I guess, more conservative. I guess, I don't know, to me, Bernie Sanders, from what he said to what you think now, what was the shift?
Communism.
For me, it was socialism, because back then I was a very broke college kid and I just had this mentality that everything should be free, and I was feeling a bit entitled, like everything should be handed to me because I was black, because I was very much in that mentality. As I learned more about free markets, as I learned more about capitalism, I started to appreciate that much more. I started to appreciate small business much more, limited government, low regulations. I just started to like that much more. But I would say just more when it comes to economics, I don't agree with him.
I didn't see black people cut the line. Nigga, I'm black.
Reparations are necessary. Look. White people trying to
When
talk
we
about
talk about
reparations.
reparations, I think that doing reparations in the way that a lot of people think of
Can we
it, where
pause
we
this?
just give it to black people.
All I'm saying, man, they got black people with money, and what we doing right now with that money? We out here killing each other,
buying chains and cars. And
Not even the
clothes.
chains and cars. I'm talking about they getting them two threes, setting 2
Remember that
6.
video of the black people in the, I'm talking about, bro.
The Dave
in the
Chappelle.
club.
Dave Chappelle.
But no, in the
Pouring
club.
bottles.
richer than you.
No,
Nah,
y'all they was having the
there's a
flex
video.
off.
Oh,
Bring another bottle.
In the club.
Like,
That was in Houston.
bottles.
That was
You
in
see
Houston.
what Dave Chappelle skipping so funny.
That was in Houston.
That's that.
Yeah,
That was
that
in space, was it not?
Yeah,
I want to see what their point
the
is. Let's
bottles.
go, let them go, let them
You
go.
know the bottles was in space.
Reparations are necessary.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Harry Potter. And,
nigga said coons.
When we talk about reparations, I think that doing reparations in the way that a lot of people think of it, where we just give it to black people. I'm not an expert on this, but I think it would be more income-based, and that in itself, like I said earlier, would disproportionately benefit black
Shout out
people,
Kirk.
because if you recognize that they are disproportionately affected by a systemic injustice, then doing it on like a class
Can we pause
level
this real quick?
They
would
say Trump
uplift
full of
proportion-
cool cigarettes. Whoa. What you want to pause it about? What you want to pause it about?
Bro, this guy is like a classic, like. Damn, nigga.
Bro, why would they say that, bro?
This guy's like a classic white liberal, like telling black people that like they're wrong for thinking differently than you. Like he's like telling black people we need to help them and give them money, and everybody that thinks differently is wrong. He is like a pure white liberal.
To be honest with you,
like you see how he keep telling what's his name Chandler he's wrong. Like you're wrong. You don't know.
He said you a hoe. You a little hoe. You need help from
he's
me.
a white dude. Like but you don't know about black people. We gotta give black people money and help them. Like
To be honest
how you
with
want to tell a black person what's best for black people? And then he's wrong for thinking differently. Like
What?
that is pure white liberalism at its finest.
What's his name again?
Who, him?
The white dude with the hat, the hunter hat.
We don't see.
I don't remember.
We need to drop him off at an all-black school for a day.
Is it Alex?
They're gonna be
I think
torching
it
that.
might be Alec. But he is like pure white liberal.
Bro, I didn't have
When we
a
talk-
question, bro.
Economics, I don't agree with him.
The reparations are necessary. It be in the top left corner.
I'm tripping.
This is a well put together video.
When we talk about reparations, I think that doing reparations in the way that a lot of people think of it, where we just give it to black people. I'm not an expert on this, but I think it would be more income-based, and that in itself, like I said earlier, would disproportionately benefit black people, because if you recognize that they are disproportionately affected
This guy's tell us what's best
by
for black people.
a systemic
Never
injustice,
been black a day in
then
his life.
doing it on like a class level would uplift proportionally more black people than white people or any other race.
Yeah, I think like the,
Dice game.
mostly like black GIs that were left out of like the New Deal, for instance, that to
What's a
be able
GI?
to come back and as a white American, as a white veteran, to get a home loan and then
the
build
GI
that
Bill? I
generational
got
wealth.
My grandpa was a GI.
You could not get that as a black American. So
Huh?
There needs to be, I think, reparations. I don't care really what form it comes from.
Run that back.
I think
Can you
free
please run that
healthcare.
back?
He talking about they came back
free
from war and
people
couldn't
come
get
back
stuff.
and as
That's
a white
cap.
American, as a white veteran, to get
Yeah,
a
I
home
think it might
loan
be
and
cap.
then build
That-
that
pause
generational
that.
wealth.
How's it count?
Cause I had multiple uncles and cousins
Yeah.
that went over, fought in the war, came back and got a whole house loan
Hell
in
yeah.
Michigan, Indiana right now.
My grandpa was a veteran too.
The barber said he make how much a month?
I was able to get a GI Bill because of my mama.
My grandpa was in the military,
you know what?
and like none of
Your
my
mama ain't no
dad's
victim.
brothers grew up like without none. Like all my uncles went to college. My dad's little brother's a dentist.
Boy,
Like, my
yeah,
uncle's
you
a
gotta do
dentist. My
something.
dad's all went to college and shit. You know what I'm saying?
It
My
comes down
grandpa
to wolf
is
or
in the
sheep.
Oklahoma Hall of Fame of veterans.
Wolf or sheep?
No, I'm gonna fuck
Yeah,
around with this one.
he
See,
was a
but I
World
think
War II,
veterans,
World War II. What
like
you talking
after they
about?
come back, I think like they expect a lot to be things to be handed to them. Because I have a grandpa that was in the Navy, and he doesn't have as much as my other grandpa that was, I think, in the Army. And my grandpa in the Army has way more stuff than him, but it's because he continues to work.
That's crazy. Yeah, my
My
grandpa
other
got
grandpa doesn't.
blicked. He got a Purple Heart and everything. He got popped in the line of duty, all that.
That's crazy.
Let me tell you, man. This would be pissing me off, especially when they try to bring the military into it, because I witnessed a black woman have her own brigade in one of the biggest facilities
He's talking
ever.
about something that happened a while back.
Man.
But it's not good now. Like if you get me reparations,
I just don't
I'm
think
saying,
reparations
well,
is good, bro.
This is
In
PPP.
general. My dad used to
Why do
always
I
say
need
anytime my dad
reparations?
would hand us $1 for anything, he would say it to me, and I used to have to say, you work, you get paid. Don't work, you don't get paid. From
Like
this tall, I never thought about it till now. But now I know, you work, you get paid. You don't work, you don't get paid.
To say
Yeah,
every
no, I-
black person needs reparations is just insane, bro.
Yeah, no, I just don't like how they keep telling black people what's best for black people. And you can tell, like, just based on, like, their character and their demeanor and how they carry themselves, they never been around black people like that.
Nah, they haven't been in it.
Because you can tell, like, when, you can just tell, you know what I'm saying? But you could just tell that these dudes never been around black dudes like that.
Yeah,
you
you
can
don't know.
tell.
He ain't been
If we
around
get
pure.
fact,
He hasn't been in the trenches.
He ain't never been around them trench babies. He think that's gonna benefit. They would, boy, you been around them for 24 hours, you gonna be a conservative when you wake up.
Hey, y'all, I
guarantee
love the
you.
trenches, too.
I'm just keeping it on it. You gonna be full conservative when
If
you
black
wake
people
up.
got reparations, watch the murder rate go up.
Actually, the murder rate's down.
Watch that shit go.
in 5
They
different
gonna
states.
flip fentanyl, more guns,
No,
a
he
whole
said
bunch
if.
of bad shit. Yeah.
Oh, he's
It's gonna
talking
be a whole
about
bunch
if
of
they
bad
get
shit.
They
money.
said New Orleans went 2 weeks
$5,000.
without somebody dying.
That's
for the first time in years.
In years, yeah. The murder rate's actually down 22% in Houston, 22% in 9% in Chicago.
It's
but it's up.
because football season back.
Yeah, I was reading. It's
They
in,
trying
it's,
to
it's in
watch
like
them
4 or 5
games.
different states. But anyway, let's get back to it.
Being real.
Mostly like black GIs that were left out of like the New Deal, for instance.
After World War II.
That to be able to come back and as a white American, as a white veteran, to get a home loan and then build that generational wealth, you could not get that as
Is this
a black
true, Jack?
American.
It's cap, bro. That's what I'm saying. It's
There
cap.
needs to be, I think, reparations. I don't care really what form it comes from. I think free healthcare, free college, so that everyone has like an equal opportunity to educate
But what
themselves,
about
to
poor
build
white
a better
people?
lives for themselves.
How do you pay for college? Who pays
So
for
it's sort of
schools?
like, and I think Germany is also a
sound
perfect
good.
model to follow. You know, by
To be honest with you?
issuing first
This
of all a
nigga-
formal apology. Which
Do you know what he's talking about right now?
The Holocaust.
He talking about Germany is a
Perfect
example for how we should do reparations. Of course, they apologized for the Holocaust.
They had no choice. If it wasn't for America,
did that-
they would have pulled that shit off.
Listen,
If America went over there and stopped that shit, they would have pulled that shit
after
off.
we have learned the history of slavery, that was a legal. What is the word I'm looking for? Consensual
Societal
transaction.
norm.
Yes, that was a consensual transaction. Slavery. I mean, the Holocaust was not. They
It was a
forced
genocide.
Jewish people. That was a genocide.
That was
of
a
course, they
genocide.
apologized for that. That's a stain on their history.
And on top of
That's-
that, they
the
only
world.
stopped because they got caught.
They stopped because
They
we went
got
to
caught.
war for that
America
shit.
went over there and said, okay, that's dead.
They was going to exterminate every freaking person that was Jewish and didn't have blue eyes. That was an Aryan. That's blonde hair, blue eyes. But Hitler didn't have blonde hair, blue eyes. So I'm talking like whatever the standards was.
Well, y'all
Come
get
on, bro. That's
veterans,
crazy,
the
bro.
older people,
That's
reparations.
crazy, bro.
I wouldn't be mad at that. But if you get any one of us for reparations, I'm gonna be like, okay, that's
I'm gonna keep it
I don't
100.
know, man. I just think that the
These
window
two-
for reparations has passed.
These two,
has, like,
these two look at us like some hoes. That's how I feel.
They
They,
got that-
I feel like a hoe.
Hey, they got white savior complex.
I can't believe you went to college.
That's what Chandler
Damn.
said, bro. That's what Chandler
That's a
said,
great
bro.
job you did there, man.
Thank you, bro.
That's what Chandler said, bro. He said they have white savior complex. They look at Mexicans. That's why they said Trump's comments about Mexicans were racist, because he said that they're sending rapists and criminals over here. They said, oh, that's so racist to say about Mexicans. Now he said they think that because they thinking of Mexicans as inferior and they are trying to lift them up because they think that white people are superior. That's why they keep having this white savior complex. Well, if we do this, it's gonna help black people. It's good for black people.
See, I don't think
but they
they've
got
been
black
around
people
poor
sitting
white
across from them
people
telling them this is not good for black people.
I don't think
and they're trying to argue.
Poor white people. They haven't. I don't think
White
they've been around
liberal,
poor
white
people.
savior complex.
Here you go,
This
bro.
is classic. We're seeing it
You ain't smart
unfold.
enough to do this, bro.
When you
slave,
we're
bro.
seeing it unfold right in front of us.
Damn, bro, you was a
We're
slave,
seeing it
bro. You
unfold
can't do
right in front of
that.
us in 4K.
Your team's supposed to lose.
You was supposed to lose.
Let's get to
I'm
let's
supposed
get
to
to
help
let's
him
get
get
let's
some
get let's
money
get to it,
now.
man.
So it's sort of like
make me seem like I'm a hoe.
And I think Germany is also a perfect model to follow. By
that's crazy.
Issuing first of all a formal apology,
We're
which
sorry we
we
bought y'all
haven't
and
even done
had y'all
that.
slaves.
But also just like donating to like different funds and just I think a more equitable society striving for that is reparations in and of itself.
Yeah, no, bud.
I
Way to
have
go,
no
them two
problems
bands.
with reparations if they had happened initially
Trump gave it to
during
us.
the slavery or the civil rights movement or any of that. But
Facts.
to try and do that now logistically just doesn't really make any sense. And like, where would this money come from? Like, we're in so much debt as a nation. Would I get this money? I'm biracial or triracial. Like, do mixed people get it? And like, do Irish people get reparations when they were indentured servants?
I think for reparations, if you
spitting.
can find
He's spitting,
specific
babe.
instances of somebody being like actually deprived of something,
Who's
whether
gonna do that?
specific instances of like the 40 acres and a meal promise, or whether you can find specific cases of like Chinese people building railroads or Irish people or whatever, people being deprived of things, that's okay. But otherwise, yeah, it's a logistical nightmare. There's no possible way that we
You couldn't go find.
Yeah, America's unique
That's
because we have
peace.
bent over backwards for decades now, putting minorities in a position of privilege. I feel like we have done so much to give back to the communities that were obviously wronged. And I agree with both of you. Like, had this
Americans
happened
get
a
free college
long
help.
time ago, I would understand it. If we had specific incidences that we could trace where people were just completely screwed over, I would respect it. But right now, I don't deserve a payment for something my great-great-great-great-grandparents went through, and I don't think that white people are responsible for paying that to me either.
I know we don't want to use the word virtue signaling, but it's sort of like a bribe for a vote in a way, at least in my opinion. In states like California, where they've been throwing around the idea of, oh, we want to pay out this much money to every black citizen in there, in the state. It's like, oh, are you serious? Because this is kind of like a joke, in my opinion.
I think that if we impose reparations now, I think it would rip America apart. I
gonna
think
be
that
so
we're already
divisive.
separated
Terrible.
enough
It's
as
gonna
it
be
is,
so
and now you're going to
divisive.
have people walking around going, "You owe me money. You owe me money. I'm not paying you any money." It would just really rip us apart.
Giving somebody money doesn't mean anything if they don't know what to do with the money or how to handle the money.
Facts.
So if the primary issue
This
in
is
black
crazy.
culture or with
Facts.
black people is generational trauma, then maybe they need more therapy than they need money, honestly.
Which conservatives are also against.
Why
Well,
do they
that's
think the
kind of
same
my
way we
argument.
do?
Like, if there is like that, like generational trauma or whatever, like I think examples
We
of
gotta
like
drop
free
them off in the
healthcare.
We gotta find a Instagram.
See a therapist.
We gotta drop
and
them
not
off in the
be,
hood,
you know,
bro.
They're gonna
fall
hang
into
out around
debt.
these
And I think
people.
the argument of like
Yo,
the
woman,
logistical
put your
nightmares of it.
savior
I think
cape
if we
on.
want to
See
pay
how
for
they
something in
treat
this
you.
country, we usually find a way to do it, especially when it comes to the military.
keep it
So
100, bro.
They don't know.
I
Let's
mean,
keep
we
it
pay
100,
for
bro.
multi-billion-dollar
It's
jets
not
all
the
the
dollars,
time.
it's who's supposed to
You
get
ain't
them.
gonna make
Not
it
to
2
attack
hours.
progressives, but that is like the most progressive idea in the world. Is like I can see the headlines like reparations voted on in Congress to be paid in the form of free therapy for people in the hood. That just sounds like the funniest thing in the world.
sounds like
Well, I also
bullshit.
don't think it's going to come directly from like, white person to black person. Like, oh, your lineage affected his lineage.
It is though. Like in San Francisco, they were going to raise the average family, or the average household in San Francisco was expected to pay $600,000 each
I said that was
with
bullshit.
the $5 million per black person proposal that they had. And I used to live in the San
remember
Francisco
that, we
Bay
did
Area,
that.
and I was repulsed by that because you have so many homeless veterans on the streets, and they were going to give black people a home for as little as $1 just for being black. Mind you, slavery wasn't even in California. So why that was going to be the case, case, like I don't understand, but it's extremely unrealistic to think that the average family in San Francisco can afford that.
That's because Newsom wants to get reelected.
Okay, but you don't really care
Precisely.
about homeless veterans, right?
That's
like,
crazy.
That's just
you
a
don't
laughable
support.
idea.
You don't know
I feel like
me.
all your arguments are ad hominem.
But you're here
Literally
as a
every
conservative.
single one
But
ad
you're here as a
hominem.
conservative. So what policies do you support?
What?
For homeless veterans?
There's ways to address, I mean, for homeless in general.
That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
Okay,
Facts.
let's say that we didn't
Hey,
find
he is a hoe. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, boy.
But
I'm
that's a
telling
good
you.
ending note.
Let him be a teacher.
Have a savior complex.
1, 2. Well, just 2 of them, really. The other 2 pretty based.
That's easy.
Yeah.
They all agree with
We are
this?
seeing 2 white saviors in real time. 2 of them.
I gotta say,
Harry
it's a
Potter
shock.
and
I never expected all 4 of
Pokemon
you to
card
just come
boy.
forward and admit it, but you know what? I'm happy with these
And
results.
the game stopped
I
working.
just think it's a lot of
So
people.
they know they
a lot
white
of,
saviors.
I guess,
Bro,
people.
come on.
We saw it, bro.
I never expected all 4 of you to just come forward and admit it, but you know what? I'm happy with these results.
I just think it's a lot of people, I guess, people, of the left, whatever,
Before
you kind
I
of fall into that trap
White
of
savior brigade.
thinking that, black people as a monolith need to be saved as a whole.
I have no shame about it. I have a savior complex as an older brother, and I will save you whether you like it or not.
Nigga, I don't need no saving.
That's just me.
Well,
You hear him?
Definitely not.
Stick
because
him in the
a lot of
hood.
us are really just exhausted. Of
Drop his ass off on Chippewa.
skin color. Because when you have this mindset that you need to save black people and we're just sitting here minding our own business and living our lives the way we want to, I don't know why it is that people feel this immense pressure to be so apologetic and just always trying to cater and coddle to black people when we just want to be treated like everybody else. We're
Facts.
people for a reason.
I think
Facts.
especially recently with a lot of riot stuff that's gone on or protest stuff that's gone on, people on the left tend to infantilize a lot of different types of protesters, and especially even talking to some of the other black content creators I do content with, when you hear a lot of progressives come out and say, well, they don't have a choice but to riot or break into this store, or, well, they're stealing
They're
these
doing
new
that
electronics or
by
shoes for
choice.
good reasons, you just don't realize it. I think a lot of people kind of look both ways, and it's a little bit weird that there's such a complex on the left to excuse every single possible negative behavior from somebody, as long as they're a skin color that you're kind of in charge of protecting.
Hey,
I find that
he's
the most
spitting,
anti all
bro.
liberals.
I
He's
find it
spitting. He
extremely-
gotta be moderate, bro.
He
It
gotta be
upsets
more
me
moderate.
to hear that because we're just like you. We just have
Facts.
a different skin color, and to
Facts.
hear that you have to help me is offensive to me.
Facts.
I can do it on my own.
We feel like I'm
Well, we have to break down sometimes why these riots happen. MLK once said that riots are the voice of the unheard. So
That was in
if you are to address the
1955.
problem and stop the riots, you have to address the underlying inequality that has historically been pervasive. Even
had to drink
if
dog water.
you as individual people are doing fine and you don't want anybody else to get in the way of that, that's cool, and I'm not going to be the one to get in the way. But the disparities are undeniable.
So if you take pride in having like a white savior complex, what is it that you think that you're doing to save black people, and what is it that you think that you're saving black people from?
I am trying to make the world a better place through whatever means I can, and
But you're doing it on the backs of us.
I wouldn't say so.
Yeah, I actually do. I feel like you want to be a
Don't argue with the
savior,
black lady.
and you're
Don't
using
argue
me
with the
to
black
make
people.
yourself feel good.
No.
That's what
How
I'm
am I
hearing.
hurting you?
You're not letting me have my own voice. You're not letting me speak.
How? You're speaking now?
No,
You're cutting her off.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I have to.
Yeah. Well, what's happening? I mean, you're speaking
This
right
guy
now.
is
You're
a
speaking
fucking-
right now in
oh
this
my
particular
gosh.
setting. But what you're
He's
saying
driving me
is,
nuts.
like, you took it back to riots and so forth, and it makes it seem like the only way that we as black people can have a voice is by riots, and then you need to come along and you need to say, okay, poor little black child, let me help you.
Here you go,
That's
buddy.
offensive to me.
Pat on the ass,
And
buddy.
I feel like you're
Get
making
that ass
yourself
pat.
feel good about trying to help us. And
I also think that, like, when we talk about damage, I think especially when it comes to a lot of the shoplifting
spitting.
stuff that's going on in certain cities, you get a lot of white people that live in nice suburbs saying things like shoplifting is no big deal, that's fine, and then you'll catch YouTube videos of them later on being in a Walgreens in like a shoddy neighborhood, and they're like, man, why is the deodorant behind a locked case? It's very easy to sit behind a gated community and say, oh, well, it's not a big deal, They steal because they have to. Riots are the language of the unheard. I think people haven't read the full context of that quote. When MLK was saying riots were the language of the unheard, and you need to address the underlying condition, he wasn't condoning the rioting, he's just understanding it.
Obviously, there are a
made
bunch
sense,
of white
bro.
people that
I
feel
like
like they
this.
need to be a
He's
savior, but I
spitting,
think
bro.
there's a difference
He's a
between
moderate.
helping
But Harry
and
Potter and
saving. Like, I don't
GameStop?
think I need to save black people, but I would tremendously love to help and make sure everyone has like equal outcome, or not equal outcome, but at least equal opportunity. Which,
their opinion would
in my
change,
opinion,
bro.
I feel we do not have in this country.
Boy, you look like a...
Hi guys. So I didn't step forward just because I don't want to broad brush all white liberals as having a white savior complex. I have experienced white liberals who do have that, and they're very unpleasant people. But I don't think every single white person who's a liberal or who is an activist for BLM or any of those things necessarily has a white savior complex. I think that there's a lot of white people who genuinely think that black people are oppressed and they want to help, and that's what they're told.
What it seems like to me, when most people have savior complex, regardless of whom they're trying to save, it's like they're taking real pain and real trauma and using that as a way to push this political agenda, but also to alleviate themselves of whatever guilt that they feel unnecessarily. Like, I don't know why a white person today would feel guilty for things that happened decades ago, let alone something that happened centuries ago.
I've never seen a white person say, I personally feel guilty for slavery. Maybe they're out there, but I've never heard that.
Yeah, in second grade when they taught us about slavery, almost every kid in my classroom would spend their entire time looking at black kids in that classroom. How was I supposed to not?
That is a very uncomfortable situation.
They have no involvement in, and I have no involvement.
Every kid in my classroom understood the context.
People hate feeling uncomfortable, and obviously you don't want to feel like the bad guy, and so I feel like it comes from a place of like, oh well, like let me make sure that I'm different and like I'm showing you that I want to like help you, but it comes across like I think it can land very poorly.
I'll tell you what, stop it. Stop it. Because what happens is when you put yourself as the white savior, what you do is you elevate yourself above the black person because you feel then like you have to save us. So just stop it. Just treat everybody regular and normal. Just like I would treat you regular normal, you treat us regular normal rather than trying to save us.
I just got one thing I wanted to bring up earlier about taxes, because you were saying that you don't, you had your job and you were talking about how like you get the tax every time and you're like seeing your tax go up. I worked in nursing homes in 2020 COVID. The last thing that was on my mind when I watched 60 and 70-year-olds on their deathbeds suffocating to death was taxes.
That's you, fuck nigga.
I was worried about health care.
I'm worried about my
I didn't give a
cheese.
shit about
But
taxes
if the
in that
money
time.
isn't being used
So,
properly for
when
healthcare,
I go to work
you should
every
probably
day,
care about
that's
taxes.
what I see. That's what I want to fix.
Damn, he's getting. Look, you see
He's
how
trying to-
nobody.
I see you once again
elevating
But
yourself
look though, a lot of
above.
Democrats, my mom even said that. That's why a lot of old people vote Democrat is because of the health care.
Yeah, but see, that's the problem is, okay, so if you tax high.
My mom said she even did that because of health care. So like she agreed with that.
They want the Obamacare.
Yeah,
I mean,
Obamacare did benefit people in a sense.
Older people,
in a
especially.
sense, for sure. No, because they was getting like free healthcare, wasn't they? Older people.
The pills are
They
cheaper.
had to like qualify
Yeah, they got
for it
like
or
all their
something.
medicine and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people do vote.
So I do understand.
No. That's why I understand we need healthcare. We need help with healthcare, especially during the COVID and all that. But I think the problem is if you don't look at the taxes and you're not questioning where is this tax money going, and they just taking the tax money and it's not going to healthcare, well then you're defeating the whole purpose.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that the tax money is going to the healthcare. If they take your tax money and they give it to black people as reparations, how does that help the healthcare?
You know what he's trying to do, bro? He's trying to be a hero. Well, I'm not focused on tax. I'm focused on the problem, healthcare, bro. It doesn't matter. Okay, healthcare is a problem, but taxes is too. Because if they tax your check and it's not going to healthcare, you're losing money, and then you can't go.
And there's no healthcare.
But I'm saying you can't, and then the healthcare rate is high. And you can't pay for it with your check because you just got taxed. So the problem is still going.
I got a question.
This dude, bro, he just want to be a hero, bro. He want to be a hero so bad.
I got a smooth question to ask though. So like, I'm just thinking like how street pharmacies be acting. So say if you able to have everything not tax high, will everything else will be lower as well? So where healthcare would be lower for us as well if they're not getting taxed for so much money, because they're taking like a lot of them. Healthcare, they take a lot of money out of their checks.
Well, it's part of the benefits that you get taxed from, isn't it?
I think even for like pharmacies, like they take a lot of money.
What we learned, if you tax the rich guy,
they're gonna tax you.
Gonna help hurt the medicine too. So the medicine's gonna be higher. So
because they gotta pay more and they still gotta break their profit.
So I mean, like both sides is gonna trying to help. So it's like
good and bad apples on both sides.
Nah, this dude, he just want to be a hero, bro. That's what he's like. I'm not focused on the taxes. I'm focused on the healthcare.
Bro, I'm telling you.
That's the last thing I was thinking about.
Who said street pharmacists?
Taj.
I
What,
did.
what'd you say? Street song?
They talking about drug dealers.
Oh,
Because like, if they could get it for cheaper, you know what I'm saying? They're going to sell it for cheaper.
Facts.
If I could get
What
stuff
was
for
the point
cheaper,
of that, though?
that's it.
It's an analogy.
Like, I was just saying, like, if I could get stuff for cheaper,
He just applied that to the higher ups. Like, if you tax them and they gotta pay more
With
to
any
get their
product,
product, they're gonna
any
charge more
product,
for it.
Yeah.
But it's also like supply and demand in a sense as well.
Yeah, that's not just drugs. That's anything.
Yeah.
That's Walmart. Walmart get it for cheaper. They sell it to you for less.
I didn't give a shit about taxes in that time.
he said,
Look, she about to get on his ass.
When
He wanna
I
be
go
a
to
hero.
work
Look,
every
you
day,
see, look, everybody.
that's what
this
I
guy's
see.
a dickhead.
That's what I want to fix.
I see you once again elevating yourself above the rest of us, and
stop.
particularly at me, a
You're
white
not
man
Jesus, eh?
elevating himself above a black person.
He
called me a bootlicker.
Sorry.
That's what
He called me a bootlicker.
Oh no, I triggered them all. I'm sorry. I'm
not
sorry.
triggered. I'm chilling,
So
buddy.
what I hope comes out
I'm
of this
chilling.
conversation
See, he just
is that
wanna
we're
be a
all
hero, bro.
Americans, and because we're all Americans, we
Drop him
know
off
that
in the
America
hood.
has a bunch of problems, and I think every
he's the
person here
worst,
wants
bro.
to solve the problems,
He's a
and I think
savior.
everybody's bringing what they have to the
He's
table
superior.
with their ideas
He's
on
fat
how
ass.
to get us to unify. This kind of stuff, right? But you got something in there. Hopefully, I mean, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you have something in there that's redeeming about you that would bring all of Americans together. So I hope that we end on the note of American.
Dang.
UNIT.
That's some
I
patriotism.
would like to
I like
say
Shorty.
we're all made in the image of God, and so we're all have our
Amen.
inherent worth
Shout
just
out
because we're made in
Jesus.
His image,
He
and we
gonna
should treat
unite
each
us.
other as fellow image bearers, not just by the color of our skin. I
Amen.
mean, as Martin Luther King said.
He also did not like capitalism.
I think
This
something
guy's
that's
such a
really
dickhead,
challenging.
bro. He's
I'm
such a
definitely
That
not
was-
a
that-
too
that was
around
true.
the Uncle
He
Tom
didn't like
word.
capitalism?
I used
No,
to
he
be
didn't
hardcore
like it.
progressive. I'm still relatively
Somebody
progressive.
always get exploded.
But something that I've learned as time has gone on is being a white person isolates you from a lot of the different types of racial struggles that people go through, and those struggles can take a lot of
Hey,
different
boy.
forms. Not
Why y'all
just
don't like
you know
Destiny,
was
Chuck?
my ancestor a slave, and
He
not just
cooking.
is my culture bad, but sometimes in the way that people grow and develop. Right? Like, am I actually choosing these political beliefs because they mean something to me, or is it because I'm black or my parents are black? If I speak a certain way, am I betraying my race?
Man,
if I am a political orientation, am I a bootlicker?
I like this guy.
And I think that it's
Him
important when you're coming from a
and
progressive
Chandler.
point of view to understand that even
That's
though
my
there are
top two.
conservatives that are black people,
And the other black
it's-
guy.
you have to treat them as individuals and not just come at it with this like, you're black, you're a conservative, therefore here's like 6 or 7 different slurs that I can use against you, but they're approved because I happen to be on the progressive side.
Hey, he spit, bro.
I don't think he liberal.
Destiny spit straight facts, bro. He was
Destiny,
cooking.
yeah.
Destiny cooked.
Destiny,
Yeah,
Destiny
I go
cooked.
Chandler
Chandler
one,
cooked.
and Xavier.
Xavier
Then the
cooked.
other
Xavier
guy.
could.
Xavier and the girl though.
What,
they
what's
the
grandma's
light
name?
skinned girl was
Aaliyah
cooking.
cooked.
She didn't say much, but she was
What was
cooking.
the older woman name? It started with
Renee.
S.
Renee.
It started with S.
Renee, yeah,
Renee was
Renee's
Renee.
cooking.
Okay, she cooked.
No,
All
I'm
them
not
cooked.
ranking them, but yeah.
All them cooked.
Except for
Destiny
Harry Potter
cooked.
and GameStop.
How is Destiny
Harry
a true
Potter,
liberal, though?
Harry Potter and GameStop were the worst. Bro, Destiny really made a lot of points. Like, he's a moderate, bro. And I agree with a lot of the stuff he said. Cause I don't know, man. He made a lot of sense, bro.
How is Destiny a fool? Everybody talking about like Destiny a donut, Destiny a rainbow.
Because, bro, he supports like different ideologies.
Somebody, Joseph, man. Somebody said Trump
From
slash
Elder
Elder.
2024.
Man, the chat is hilarious. Y'all know Elder done.
Yeah, no,
They didn't even get to go to the GOP.
They all had some good points, man.
Bro, yeah.
that's
I don't
some
think
good
these
points,
people
man.
like even know poor white people.
Bro, them the two white saviors, bro. You could tell they are not around these people that they think they want to desperately save.
Save, yeah.
Because I promise you, if you go around black people that you want to save so bad, they're not going to like you. Especially the way he act. Oh, he gonna get toe up.
Oh yeah, they
Put
take
that
him.
boy in Chippewa.
If he
I
cares
wanna take
so
him to the
much,
trenches.
If he cares so much, let him go be a teacher at one of these schools.
I promise you, they're not going to like you. He gonna be yelling at the kids. I'm trying to help you. I'm like, man, fuck you, Mr. Johnson.
He don't know. He don't know. He
Man, bro,
Somebody gonna slap his ass right now.
he's really like he kept trying
CJ
to.
and Aquarius, stop!
He kept trying
Right
to put
now,
himself
bro,
above
take
everybody, bro.
I
He
feel
kept
what
trying
he
to be-
principle.
Jamal.
He was like speaking from
Jamal.
a place like he thought he was superior. Like, you see, he told Chandler he was wrong. He called Xavier a bootlicker. He tried to keep coming at Renee. Like, he really just thought he was
said-
like doing something.
He said,
And
"You
what
think
all he
wrong
did
for
was
me,
piss
you're
me off,
racist."
bro.
He said, "If you think opposite of me, you're racist." racist.
Yeah,
That's
that
that's
Maybe he wasn't trolling. Maybe he wasn't
shoulda
trolling. I thought he
moved
had
right
to have
there.
been trolling because how
Like
the
he really like
maybe
is
he
a
wasn't
hoe,
trolling
bro.
when he said that. I really thought he was trolling when he said that, but maybe he actually
He really is a hoe. Like he really thought he was better than everybody. Like bro, like really go home and look in the mirror. You are fat. You have no swag. You will not
His
come
swag was
around me and my
terrible.
black friends and kick it with us, thinking you trying to save us. We're going to roast your ass for sure.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. They just really. I wish I could get his IG and take him to the trenches.
Boy, if we take him to the
No,
trenches,
we actually can make that a
with
video.
that fit he had on, I want him to put that same fit on.
I want
come
him
with
to-
what you got on, and you gonna sit. Go take the nigga to Douglas High School.
Just let him try
They
to be a
gonna
teacher
tear
at
your
one of these
ass
schools,
up.
bro. He don't even got. If he goes try to teach one of these.
Show up with
Yeah,
your
he doesn't
kid,
understand
with your
what's the
one
true
piece
problem.
shirt,
Yeah.
and your banana button
Yeah.
down, and your Hunter Biden shirt, and your blue shorts, and with your hiking boot kicks
don't
on.
understand
and
the-
he doesn't
Go
understand
sit
in the class
it literally
with the
starts in the
Aquarius and the
home.
Quan.
He doesn't understand it starts in the home, bro.
Take
Because
him-
if you're
take
not getting
every
your
time.
ass whooped,
Yes.
Then you're not scared of nobody. You
then
gonna
it's
do
over
whatever.
with.
I'm
Need to
telling
take-
you, bro, we're gonna cook his ass, boy.
We should take him to the South Side.
If somebody tell me they,
We're
I'm
gonna
telling your
drop him
dad,
off,
I'm
bro.
trembling.
Oh,
We're
yeah,
gonna
I'm
drop him
terrified
off,
of my
bro.
dad.
And he gonna wake up tomorrow. Trump 2024.
Hunter Biden 2024.
Harry
is
Potter
so funny, bro.
GameStop.
He's a troll.
Y'all is
He
some
ain't
snowflakes.
man. I'm telling
man.
you.
Yeah, guys,
I'm
this was an
telling you,
excellent
boy.
discussion.
He was a jackass for real, for real. But I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah,
I really just.
NFL's on.
Gotta
We
take him
about
to
to
the
catch
We
these
done
games,
missed. We done
guys.
missed. It's probably halftime now. We done missed the whole
The
first
Titans
half of
playing
week
right
one.
now,
Like
boys.
the video. My boy said
We
it's
was on there for a
only
minute.
500 likes. Everybody liked the video, guys. We're
Yeah,
out
man,
here.
that was I actually enjoyed that debate.
Great discussion.
I love what my black and